Now that a lot of you have probably seen Weapons, let's dive into it. And there will be spoilers in this, so now's your chance to scroll away. One major thing I noticed was the pattern of not only the references to actual weapons, but also things that can be used as weapons. The disappearance of the classroom of kids feels like a clear parallel to real-life school shootings, the way tragedy rips through towns, and how quickly people look for someone to blame instead of facing the real issue. There's even a possible subtle tie to real legislation. In 2022, a bill to ban assault rifles passed the House with 217 votes, then failed in the Senate. In the movie, the kids wake up at 2:17 a.m. This might not be a coincidence. Also, that strange posture the kids run in is directly inspired by a famous Vietnam War photograph called The Terror of War. It's a Pulitzer Prize-winning image of a young girl running down the road after a napalm attack in 1972. Using that imagery in the movie adds another layer. It's about innocence destroyed by violence. Another thing I saw over and over was power and authority. The cop abuses his badge, taking advantage of his position. The aunt uses her role as an adult to control her nephew and force him to do what she wants. It's showing how authority can be turned into a weapon when it's used to dominate instead of protect. Another running theme was addiction. James is ruled by his addiction. He's willing to do anything for a fix. It shows how substances can control people to the point that they become weapons against themselves and others. On Reddit, some people noticed that the triangle symbol in the credits mirrors the logo for 12-step recovery groups. And the film comes back to alcoholism and addiction themes again and again. Justine drinks heavily to cope with her trauma. Gladys could represent addiction itself and how it sucks your life away. Alex's story can be seen as mirroring growing up with addicted parents. The next one's a little more far-fetched, but it's junk food. The principal and his husband are at the grocery store piling up on junk food. Then we see them make a tray of like 10 hot dogs for themselves for lunch. It could be interpreted as a nod to how unhealthy processed foods are cheap, fast, and everywhere, and how that accessibility can be used as a weapon in its own way, especially to those who can't afford healthy food. Next, we have disease. When the cop gets stabbed by the needle, he's terrified that he's contracted something. So he beats James unconscious, but then still ends up sleeping with Justine anyway. It shows fear driving violence and the hypocrisy in how people respond to danger. Plus, a virus is a weapon in its own right. It spreads silently, turns your own body against you, and moves from person to person without even realizing it. Another running theme was influence and control. Everyone in the community is blaming each other while one vain boomer quietly manipulates everyone. Sounds a little familiar. She feeds off the youth, uses their trauma to distract the town, and pulls the strings to serve her own agenda. To me, it could also mirror toxic ideas taking root, like political rhetoric being planted in kids' minds. Next running theme was energy vampires and abuse. I don't know if you guys caught, but parasites are everywhere in this movie. Justine is teaching about them in class. The principal and his husband are watching a cordyceps documentary. Gladys is literally a parasite. She inserts herself into the household and sucks life from everyone she abducts. And that could represent the people who sometimes enter your life with bad intentions. Gladys's magic works through personal items, just like real-life abusers use personal secrets or vulnerabilities to keep control. And through all of this throughout the film, you see how badly people treat each other based on false assumptions or misdirected anger. The ending is not a super happy one. It shows the reality of life after trauma. Weapons shows us how pain, fear, and power can all be twisted into weapons, and how the real damage lasts long after the smoke clears. So what do you guys think? Did Weapons hit different for you after digging into this a bit more? Drop your thoughts in the comments.